So, you're thinking about starting a business, which is awesome, but you probably have a few concerns, maybe a few questions as well. After all, the statistics about businesses failing, especially in the beginning, are terrifying. So what are some things that you can do to give yourself and your business the highest chance of success? Well, here are 7 things that you should never ever do when starting a business. And it all starts with number 1, choosing a business idea based solely on what you like. You see, one of the biggest myths when it comes to business and entrepreneurship is that you should simply just follow your passions. And if you follow your passion, you'll be successful in business and in life and everything will be amazing. This, unfortunately, is completely crazy. Totally inaccurate, because the reality is you may have a lot of different interests and a lot of different likes and a lot of different passions, of which many of which are simply not going to be well suited to starting a business or to actually providing for you and for your family and making you an income or a lifestyle that you actually want to live. This is especially true if you're multi-passionate or you've got a number of different interests and a ton of different ideas flowing through your head. You may be thinking that, well, that's a great idea and that's a great idea and that I really enjoy too, so why don't I just create businesses from all of them? And really, this is a real fast path to failure. The reality is that just because you like something, just because you're passionate or interested or even curious about something, it doesn't make it a good enough business idea, just on that fact alone. There's also the other side of the coin, which is that when you take one of your passions or one of your interests and you turn it into a business, you turn it into work, well, it kind of loses some of the magic and some of the appeal and some of the draw that drew you into it in the first place. This is because your fun and passionate hobby, well, it starts to become a job. It starts to become a chore. And there's going to be elements of it, certain things you're going to need to practice or to prioritize, certain elements of even your most favorite activity that maybe you don't love, that you're gonna have to do. With all that said, if you do have a number of different interests and a number of different things that you like, well, my advice is to try to find one that falls into one of the following 3 categories, either health or wealth or relationships. And the reason you want to pick one of these 3 categories is because this is typically where most of the money is made in the business world. All right, so to build on this theme, let's move on to point number 2, something you should never ever do when starting a business, and that's choosing a business idea based on only the fact that you're good at something. We all have skills, we all have talents, and we all have things that we're naturally good at, probably better than most people. And while this can be a good indicator or a good director to sort of point you in the right direction for a business idea, basing your business only around this fact is simply not enough. Now, before I unpack this too much, first, we do have to agree on the fact that if you want to succeed in business, you do have to be good at what you do. That should be obvious. You're going to need a good product and a good service and a good business, but that's a given. What may not be so obvious is that you, as the business owner, as the entrepreneur, well, you inevitably don't necessarily need to be the main person doing all of the actual day-to-day work. There's probably a lot of other people that you can hire or that you can partner with who are just as good and maybe even better at what it is that you're trying to do. Aside from the fact that there are other people that you could probably find to help you or to support you or that you could hire eventually in your business, well, you also need to ask yourself a question that's going to apply both to this point and the previous one we just talked about, which is just because you're good at it, well, do you necessarily want to be doing this thing for 8 to 12 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week, especially in the beginning? Because, again, especially in the beginning, these are going to be the kind of sacrifices and the kind of time investment you're going to need to put into your business if you want to set it up for success in the long term. All right, the third thing you should never, ever do is choose a business idea based on what you think the market needs. Here's the deal with that. People, your customers, your clients, the people that you're going to be selling to, well, they buy wants, not needs. What I mean by this is that even though you may have gone out there and you may have identified a gap in the marketplace, you've identified what you believe is a market need, something that the market truly needs. Well, the problem with this is that people don't tend to buy things they need, they buy what they want, and they make purchases emotionally first, and they justify them rationally and logically later. This is why when I'm evaluating a new business idea or I'm working with a client or a student on their business, one of the first things we take a look at is what are people already buying and what do they say they want, rather than what are the things that we think they want. Essentially, what they actually want versus what we think they need, because there's often very little overlap. This is why I almost always look for competition in the marketplace. There's a lot of talk about going into blue oceans, which are known as uncontested marketplaces, carving out new niches and new industries and new offers. And while that's amazing, when you're first getting started, it's a whole lot easier to actually go into a market or to an industry that already has some level of competition. Why would you want to do this? Well, the answer is quite simple. It's because competition normally indicates some level of market demand, which means that people want whatever it is that your competitors are selling. So if you can find a way to go out there and to differentiate your offer, and of course try to do it better, but at least you'll know there is a proven market for what your business is trying to sell. All right, so before we move on to point number 4, first let me introduce you to the business idea success formula. Big name, simple concept. Essentially, what it says is that your business idea, well, its success is going to come down to the overlap of the 3 principles that I just talked about. The first of which, of course, is things that you like. Now, this alone is not enough to build a business on, but it is one factor. The second is things that you're good at. Again, not enough to build a business on, but another factor. And the third, of course, is what the market actually wants. And if you can find the overlap between these 3 variables, things that you like, things that you're good at, as well as what the market actually needs, well, that sort of overlapping area, that's going to be the sweet spot for your business. All right, point number 4 in our list of things you should never ever do when starting a business really comes down to setting false expectations of success, and essentially what's really required to succeed in business today. I'm sure you know this already, but it's important to say again. When it comes to business, there really is no get-rich-quick scheme or overnight success. Sure, it may happen on occasion, but you should never use the exception to prove the rule. There's an expression in the entrepreneurship community, which is that I left the 9 to 5 to join the 5 to 9. Sadly, this is quite accurate. Now, I am by no means an advocate of hustle culture, or essentially working all day, every day, and really just sacrificing every other area of your life for your business. That said, that is what I did nearly a decade ago when I was first getting started in my business. I was putting in 12 to 16 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week, and I did this for months and years on end. And it worked. Now, in hindsight, I probably wouldn't have made the trades that I made. I ended up sacrificing a lot of my health and my sanity and my relationships, so in turn, it probably wasn't a very good trade-off. But again, it worked, and the sacrifices did lead to rewards. The fact of the matter is that starting a business is really hard, but it's worth it. But you do need to have a really clear set of expectations of the amount of time and energy you're going to need to put into this thing in order to make it successful, which means making sure that you are emotionally and financially and physically and spiritually prepared for the hardships that you're going to endure, and also making sure that your friends and your family are just as prepared. All right, let's move on to the next thing you should never, ever do, and this one I am a strict believer in, and that is never ever take on soul-crushing levels of debt. There are a few industries in particular where this is the norm, sadly, and this is why they have such high failure rates. A good example of this would be starting a restaurant and essentially investing tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars into equipment and infrastructure and tools and staff and all sorts of things. This is why when you're first getting started in business, your goal should be to keep your investment, your capital costs, the amount of money you're spending, as low as humanly possible. I am not a big fan of debt, especially when it comes to business. Yes, it can be useful as a tool later in your career, but most people, especially in the beginning, are simply not prepared for the risks and the kind of the responsibility that comes along with debt. So, bootstrap it, which means pinch your pennies and save your nickels. I think that's an expression. Basically, just don't blow a bunch of money when you don't have to. Fortunately, thanks to the internet, many things are available for cheap, if not completely free. And you can buy what I believe is the single greatest business boosting tool available to you today, books. Seriously, for around 10 bucks, maybe 15. 20 at the most, you can get someone's lifetime collection of business advice and strategies and ideas around your business idea and around your market. And you can basically download that into your brain and learn from all of their experience for pennies on the dollar of what it would cost you to either hire them in real life or to acquire that experience and that education on your own. If you have a business idea that does require some kind of hard assets or tangible goods? Well, again, turn to the internet and don't be afraid to buy things used. Long story short, save your money, protect your cash flow. You need cash coming in for your business to survive, which means you've got to try to eliminate as much cash going out in the beginning. The exception to that, of course, is buy some books. They're really good. All right, the next point and thing you should never ever do, which kind of builds on the last one, is to not get fancy. What this means is that there's a tendency to take a look at other entrepreneurs or other people in your space, especially in the online or internet marketing or internet business communities, and see all these people with fancy watches and fancy cars and big houses and want to do the same. It's absolutely fine to have those as goals, to put them on your vision board, to write them down as things you want to achieve, and to work towards them. But in the beginning, don't go down that road. If you're just getting started, there is no shame in working from home, or working from the spare bedroom in your house, or from your garage, or from a co-working space, or from a coffee shop. And there is no need to buy fancy cars, or fancy watches, or fancy computers, or fancy cameras. Fancy anything. Sure, it's nice to have good stuff. You can get it later. But when you're first getting started, a real simple computer and a cell phone and an internet connection, that's really all you need. And books, don't forget books. Again, $10, really can't go too wrong. Or guess you could get a library card too, and then they're free. All right, the next thing that you never ever want to do when you're starting a business, and this one I feel incredibly strong about, is you never ever want to ignore marketing. You see, marketing is the single most important element to your business's success. Marketing is going to be the difference between your business making it or your business failing. This is because it's marketing's job to spread the word, to help you attract and acquire new paying customers and clients for your business, and really to grow that business from nothing to something. This is why your goal as an early stage business owner or entrepreneur should be to try to learn everything and anything you can about marketing. This is why the next thing you're going to want to do is check out the video I have linked up right here on Introduction to Marketing. So make sure to check that out now, and I'll see you in the next episode. Marketing is a major business function that's made up of a bunch of other parts, one of which, of course, is advertising. But there's also a ton others like PR, market research,